music are they supposed to hear? Okay, Broussard, here's your test. Do you hear me? I just did jump off. Do you hear me? Sound coming through? If not, we want to get it resolved now. Now there's audio. Okay. We're good then.
Okay.
You're not deaf. Had me worried.
Yeah. Me too. Goodness.
Hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I don't know if it snowed where you are. We woke up this morning and there was snow. The school where our two younger granddaughters go was closed. So, hey there, Sammy. I hope you all know our guest tonight. She has a wonderful channel, LORELLA, Not a Farm Girl. Great videos, wonderful person. Hey, Amen Homestead.
We're starting to get her to blush, so we have to brag her up some more here.
Oh, do we have to brag her up some more? She's
Yes.
blushing there in the background?
Yeah,
She said my name wrong.
You're right, I did.
It's LORELLA.
LORELLA. I do apologize. I do apologize, and I knew that. It rained all day there. I'm not sure if I want rain or snow. You know, either way, it all ends up turning into mud. So, oh, Mike, you can keep the ice up in Michigan. That's where our Sassy and Sadie are now. You can keep the ice up there. So, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
Okay?
We can do that.
We're going to bring her out. Oh, there she is.
Hi, everyone.
Make sure all your questions are in caps. We are going to have 4 trivia questions tonight.
Lots of trivia questions.
Lots of trivia questions tonight. So let's, whatever you all want to ask her.
Well, I'm going to start this.
Okay.
Is it snowing out there where you're at right now?
No, actually, I'm really close to Little Creek Homestead, so rain all day.
That's what she just
And,
said. Yeah.
Mud.
Rain and
It's
mud.
really sloppy.
My. Because I think you're about the same. I think you're like almost due west of us.
You're testing my geography. I'm not sure.
Yeah, me too.
I'm kind of even with Springfield and Branson, Missouri, is where I'm at. I'm very near Baker Creek, about 30 minutes south of Baker Creek.
That's pretty much
Yeah,
due west of us.
we'll meet her at least in May.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe before.
Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe before. Are you going to make it down to Roots and Refuge? In
Arkansas?
I am not. I'm actually going to be in Little Rock that weekend, but for a work conference. So I don't know if I'll be able to slip away and get over there.
Okay.
Well, if not, we'll meet her in May.
Yep, we'll meet her in May then. Absolutely.
Yep.
So
I want to know where Singleman is watching from. Singleman says, "What's snow?"
Exactly. Arizona, California, Florida.
snow is that white fluffy water.
Yeah, frozen water. No, that would be sleet and ice.
So I'm curious.
Yeah,
What-
that's right. Duncan 1900 is also from Missouri. Mm-hmm.
What caused you to start a YouTube channel?
Okay. The beginning of it was a 17-day or 27-day, something incredibly long road trip that my family took in 2013. And you have a lot of time to think and dream on a road trip. And we ventured we were in Los Angeles at the time, and we were visiting family. My dad had been diagnosed with dementia, and we wanted to go and visit him while he would still remember us, and the kids would have good memories with him. And we went through I-10 on the way here, I guess, from California. So we went through Texas and Arizona and New Mexico. Not in that order, obviously. And then we stopped anywhere we had family, which is quite a bit on the way, and we came up through Louisiana, through West Monroe, up through Oklahoma and then into Missouri and stayed with my dad. And then we went home a more northern route and went through Colorado and Kansas and Utah and kind of came back down that way. And when we were in Colorado, my cousin, who had also moved from Southern California a few years prior to that, she was talking about a neighbor that she had who was doing what they called gentleman farming. And being a little bit of a smart aleck that I am, I said, well, what does that mean? They're going to wear, like waistcoats and top hats? What is that? What is gentleman farming? And she said it is earning enough money off of their farm to support their family, but not doing big commercial farming. And after that, from Colorado back to California, we had several more thousands of miles to talk and dream, and we were paying the high California mortgage, working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet, and we just thought, what could we do if we didn't have a mortgage? What could we do if we moved somewhere, if we could provide more food for ourselves and live debt-free? What would that look like? What would is this gentleman farming thing as something we'd be interested in? And since I grew up in the city, even though my parents had retired to a farm, I had never lived on a farm. So that's why I'm not a farm girl. And so we just thought, well, if we do decide to make this big, giant leap from city living to rural living, it would be good to document it and see if it's a possibility. And we got home in mid-June, and by July 21st, my husband's birthday, we had committed to the move, and that night our first video went live right around then, and that was 2013. And 6 months later, we were on the road. We had moved to Missouri.
Wow. That's incredible. So you just jumped into it with both feet?
Yeah, we did. Chris stayed in California for a couple of years. He was working, and we weren't sure if we were going to buy property, or we ended up building on my mom's farm. But we thought we might have to buy, and so he was funding the move and the build. Our house in California was upside down. We moved right in the middle of the crash, so we did not get anything out of our house. We did a short sale and walked away with nothing, which was a shame, because a few years before that, our house had been worth much more than what we paid for it, and then the crash happened, and so we didn't get anything out of it. So we're building our house little by little as we have cash.
Okay, so, but you moved then to property that your parents had, is that?
Yes. So the plan was for the girls and I to move in with my parents temporarily while Chris saved up some money and continued working. He moved in with his parents in California. We sold our house, so we no longer had that mortgage. And then I would begin looking for property in this area. And my mom invited us to build on her property, so that's what we've done. Okay.
And I know that I've seen some, I've looked at a lot of your videos here over this past week, and I know that you had the build series of videos of the house and and how you were. I like the way that you did it, where there was a space between weeks, if you would, simply because you were saving up more money.
Right.
At least, that's the way I interpreted it. Was that
right? Yeah, and sometimes there's months between videos.
Right.
We're still not finished. So we save up, and when we have, the several thousand it takes to install the heating and air conditioning, that's when it went in, and we start saving again. And right now we have a person who's helping us with drywall. We do a lot of the work ourselves. We are not electricians, we are not plumbers, we're not concrete specialists. So there are things that we are bringing in outside help, but a lot of times we will work alongside them. And right now we're drywalling some of the bedrooms. We have drywall in some of the rooms, but we're doing little by little, cash as we go.
Do you have any kind of a goal set as to when you might actually say, well, it's complete, or is it going to be an ongoing forever build?
I hope it is not ongoing or forever. Our goal was to complete it, and this is actually laughable looking back, in 6 months. That was our goal. And we've been working on it since, I think we broke ground at the end of 2014. So, but I think once we get the, sorry, my chat screen just disappeared on my phone. Once we get the drywall in, because that's like the last like big thing, then it's just going to be other things we can do a little bit at a time. We can hang a couple cabinets, we can finish out a bathroom, we can put up trim. You know, the all the big projects will be done with the drywall.
And if I'm not mistaken, in addition to building this house, you've taken up the gentleman's farmer trade, and you're actually farming.
Yes, and I later learned that that was called homesteading. That there are lots and lots of people who are doing it. I had never heard of it when we moved, and Chris had been more on the lines of wanting to be self-sufficient and wanting to be in preparedness. He came from the prepper background, whereas I came to it more from a nutrition and wanting to have values of knowing where my food came from and knowing how it was raised and grown. So we come at it from different angles, but I think that it suits both purposes. And so, you know, as we were driving and dreaming, and he's like, yeah, people call this homesteading. People do it all the time. It's actually a very common thing. People are returning to old skills that just in a few generations we've almost lost.
Right.
But, you know, if you think back to the Great Depression, almost every house, even in town, had a kitchen garden and kept a couple chickens. So we are returning to those old skills. At the current time, we have 2 heifers who are hopefully bred, that we need to go bring home from the bull pretty soon. They've been visiting their boyfriend, I like to say. We have about 20-something chickens. We have, what else do we have? A couple ducks. I had goats for a little while, but I decided, because we do work outside the home, that daily milking wasn't something that we were ready to do yet. But if I'm ever on farm more, then that is something I'm interested in. We have pigs. We usually raise pigs each year. And then I'm getting into meat rabbits. And I am working on gardening. I am a slow learner when it comes to gardening. And each year, though, my garden is getting bigger and better each year, and I learn a little bit each year.
What's wrong with that?
So the livestock came before the garden. Sort of.
Yes. Well, I think I tried both right off the bat, but I am more successful with livestock than I am with gardening. Mm-hmm. The animals, they like me. I think that's something I got from my dad. My dad was the kind of man that he never met an animal or child that did not immediately love him. And I think I got a little bit of that from him.
Cool.
Well, and you have some horses too, you not?
We do. They're not livestock. They're pasture ornaments.
Pasture ornaments. I like that term.
My daughter bought the horses, and one is rideable, and the other one is a companion horse who has a bad back. And the one that's rideable does not get ridden very often because my daughter is now a high school senior with a job. So she's not home as much as she was when we first bought the horses.
Well, we do have a question here for you.
Okay.
Twin Cedar Farms, what is your favorite channel to watch lately?
Oh, that you're going to put me on the spot and ask me that?
Oh, we're just starting.
I will actually say that lately my favorite channel to watch is Branscombe Farms. It's a small little channel, but she's growing. Her name is Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. She's a cute little daughter who I believe her name is Carly. And they raise rabbits. And because that's what I'm getting into very soon in April, I'll be getting my first rabbits. I've been watching all her videos, and Carly's just adorable. Carly she's, I don't know, 2 or 3, and maybe a little bit older than that, but she tells how to take care of the rabbits. It's really cute. But my favorite channel to watch changes depending on what I'm wanting to do. Last summer, I was watching Liz Zorab every day for gardening.
She's amazing.
I really like Don Bois in Canada. There's so many. I hate to actually name.
Yeah.
Oh, and right now there's another great series that Farm Alarm is doing called 1 Year on a Farm. And a new episode comes out every Thursday, and I've really loved those a lot.
Farm Alarm's a fun channel to watch.
They're an upcoming guest.
Yeah, we had them in the past.
And they're in the comments, too. She's here. I saw them in the comments.
Yep.
We do have, the Googler said, sorry, came in late. What part of Missouri are you in?
I'm in southern Missouri. I'm about an hour from either Springfield or Branson. I'm 30 minutes south of Baker Creek. So I'm in the same neighborhood as Jay from the Grateful Soonites, Kevin and Sarah at Living Traditions, Kip from Thousands of Roots, Tom at Three Basket Living, the awesome Homestead is not too far from here, Vicky at Little Creek is not too far from here, Ozark Off-Grid Family is not too far from here.
Got a great community
that
close.
Just moved north of Springfield. They have two channels. One is Regenerate, Don't Degenerate, which is their exercise channel. And they have a homesteading channel too. You guys probably know who I'm talking about. Renda and oh goodness, their names escape me. If anybody knows, throw it in the comments, please. I'm thinking of.
Spit it out, anybody.
Anyway, there's lots of great homesteading channels in this area.
Yes, there are.
Okay, well let's talk about a couple other YouTube channels.
Hardiness Approach. Thank you, Vicky.
Yeah, let's talk about a couple other YouTube channels that I'm going to go way back in your earlier days. That you used to watch, and I'm sure you still do, but some bigger channels.
Okay.
One of those being Dirt Patch Heaven.
Yes, Julie and I are still friends. I just spoke to her today on Messenger.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've had her on the
early on
the show here before, and we met up with her down at Deep South Homestead's gathering last year.
Right.
One that maybe will surprise a lot of people. I don't know that you were involved, but your husband was, and that was with Cody with Wrangler Star.
Right. Yeah, that was. I think that was 2017, and he was able to spend a weekend out there. When Cody and his wife took a shooting course, Chris went out and ran camera for them and got to hang out with them for a weekend, and that was nice. It was a small course from Leopold, and there were, I want to say, 15 or 20 people in it, and so Chris got to know a lot of great people that weekend. Yeah. And then something else, if I can brag on my husband for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if anybody knows Jack Spirko. He got his start as a podcaster, but he also does YouTube channels, and he's out of Houston, and he has a big, huge following on podcasting. And when the hurricane hit, or he might be in the Dallas area, but when the hurricane hit Houston, they put together a citizens network that went and actually took relief, and people donated from all over the country, and they would load up on Walmart cards, and they would go out in teams of 2 or 3 and go find churches or shelters and pop in and say, what do you guys need? Some were like diapers or ice or blankets, and then they would go make runs to the stores and buy it and bring it. And Chris went down there and worked with them for a couple weeks. It was a great opportunity for Chris. He loved serving like that, and it was really neat to see a real grassroots relief effort that went right to where the problems were.
Yeah, one of our moderators lived in Texas at the time, and she was on one of the search and rescue groups, and she saw some stuff that I don't think anybody ever wants to see, but she did some work with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and there's another party that you've mentioned in some of your videos that lives in Virginia that we're familiar with, and that would be Amy Fuel. Fuel.
I apologize, the name is escaping me.
Okay, well, she's the one that actually has started the Homesteaders of America conferences.
Oh, I thought you said Jewel. Yes,
no,
sorry, Fuel. Yes.
Yes, yeah, Amy Fuel.
Yes, I know who she is. From Fuel Homestead. Sorry, I thought.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Amy Jewel. I apologize. Yes, I do know. I do know who she is.
So, and she has just one book out or two now?
I think she has 2, if not 3. I think
Okay.
one's coming out, but I think she has 2 out right now.
So, and you've also been to the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival.
I have. I went last year. Was my first time at the Spring Planting Festival. I have been to Baker Creek several times, but I used to choose to go when there weren't as many crowds or as many people. It wasn't so crowded. I'm not a fan of crowds, but I am a fan of YouTubers. So it was nice to go last year and get to meet everybody. That's where I met so many people. I shouldn't even start naming names because I'll forget one, and then it's...
Well, and I'm sure everybody realizes that, but yeah, we're looking forward to, we're hoping you're going to be there this year again.
I will be there, definitely, yes.
So we're looking forward to meeting you there in person.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's 8:21. We have 4 trivias. Why don't we get one done?
Okay, let me queue up a trivia here.
Alrighty.
Well, hi folks, it's trivia time again, and we have to have some rules for this, so they are as follows. Number 1, you can only win once every 4 weeks. Number 2, you must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it appears embedded on the screen here. Your chat window may have a different order. And number 3, you have to send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Send us your mailing address so we know where to send your winnings. Good luck.
Okay, I'm hoping that everybody heard Smudge all right. We seem to have something a little bit strange going on with some of the sound here tonight, but the rules are real simple. If you are the first one to answer the question correctly in the chat window.
On our screen.
On our screen. This is the screen that is scrolling up for everybody to see. That is the official order of the chat, if you would. Your screen is more than likely different. People are in different orders. We learned this a long time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the question.
Oh,
We hasn't been asked yet.
We haven't asked it yet.
Oh,
So you're okay.
I see numbers and
Oh, yeah.
things.
Yeah, they always get ahead of themselves.
Yeah, they're way ahead of themselves.
Okay.
But that's okay.
All they hear is trivia and they start putting in whatever.
Gotcha.
So anyway, let me get this brought over here. So if you would, you can see the chat is on the page here, and we will get to the very first question right now. What second language is our whole family fluent in? Now this is not Sherry and I, this is Lorella. Spanish, Dutch, Russian, Spanish. Oh, there we
Farm
go.
alarm.
Yep.
Farm alarm got it. ASL. Sign language.
American Sign Language.
American Sign Language.
And she was...
No single man. Yiddish would be me.
Okay, and the prize here on this first one is what, $10?
$10 towards anything you want off of MK Lone Star Handcrafted. It has to be something that is worth more than $10, but you get $10 off. And she just loaded some more items on her website last week.
Now, that, and in addition to that, everybody that's in the stream here tonight, if you would like to go to mklonestarhandcrafted.com, we have a discount code that's good until February the 18th. That gets you 15% off of any item. And that is the code right there. Two-family homestead rocks. That gets you 15% off any item on that site. That's for everybody. But the winner gets a $10 gift certificate. You have to send us an email, and we will send you a code that's good for $10 off of anything on their site.
Yeah. And MK has been great doing this. This is her 4th week now, being one of our sponsors. No, Allie, sorry, you didn't win. Okay.
So, Farm Alarm, you need to send us an email, if you would, please. We probably have your email address, but if you would send us an email, it's just easier to do it in that fashion. Okay. And my question is, because I know that you gave us the questions and the answers, and you said it was American Sign Language.
Correct.
So my question is, are there other forms of sign language? Is there a Canadian sign language or a European or?
Yes. So because language develops naturally over time, there was sign language in each country or in each region long before there was communication between countries. And a little piece of trivia, American Sign Language actually was brought to the U.S. by French priests. So our roots are in French Sign Language, and British Sign Language, which I believe Cheryl at Homestead in the Highlands said she knows some of, is completely different than American Sign Language because our roots are different. There's some similarities between Canadian Sign Language, but Australian Sign Language is completely different, even though we all speak English in all of those countries.
Well, the Canadian would have the hay in it.
A.
Yay?
A.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, and I'm being serious now, it's easy for us to tell somebody that's like comes out of Tennessee or somebody that comes out of New England area simply because of accent in their voice. Is this also true in sign language? Is there different?
And that's Samson Farms said there's even regional dialects.
Okay.
Correct. So there are regional dialects or different words that are used to mean different things throughout different parts of the U.S. So in Louisiana, when they say they watch TV, they watch TV like this. And in California, when they watch TV, they watch TV like this. Like you're holding a remote.
I'll be darned.
So just different words, different regional words for the same thing.
I'll be darned. So how did you develop an interest in this?
I went to college and Spanish was full.
Okay.
That's the short answer.
Okay.
And then I ended up marrying my professor's son. So my in-laws grew up signing. My father-in-law has 4 deaf siblings. And my mother-in-law grew up in the same small town, and she knew their family, and she signed because everyone in their family does. And then later she taught at a deaf school, and she taught at the college where I was taking sign language. And Chris and I were freshmen together and had some courses together. And so then for years and years we were involved in the deaf church in California, and so our children grew up with deaf babysitters, deaf aunts and uncles, deaf Sunday school teachers, and so they signed naturally as well.
But your job is
Teacher's pet.
is an interpreter, if I understand correctly.
Yes. So my off-farm job is sign language interpreter, and I interpret things such as medical appointments, court, job training. I sub in the school systems when their interpreters are out. I interpret rants and shows, so a wide variety. They call that freelance work. So a lot of miles on my car, but a lot of different fun things that I get exposure to that I would never know or be able to see otherwise.
Well, that's interesting. It's not the typical run-of-the-mill job.
No.
But I was curious about that because for somebody just to develop this interest to the point that you have done this,
Right.
it just seems like there has to have been some other reason. In your case, it was your in-laws.
Yeah, and actually all of the people who went through my sign language program at our college, I shouldn't say all, but there are several of us who are interpreters or interpreter trainers or things like that throughout the country. It was a really good program.
Are you familiar with Alderman Farms?
No.
Okay, they're out of
Mississippi.
And I know that Patty
signs.
But
I'll have to look her up.
But I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I didn't know there was a difference until I was talking to you that, there's...
If it's in the United States, it's going to be the same with just a few regional things. Like in English, there's you guys, there's y'all, there's here in Missouri, they say youans, right? But you still can understand each other. It's the same thing in sign language. It's the same language. There's just going to be some little variance from area to area.
Okay, yeah. Patty Alderman, and the reason we know this is Tommy, her husband, has a good voice and does some singing, and she signs what he's singing. They do this in their church. They did this at the gathering last year, Deep South Homestead's gathering. I'm guessing they will probably do that again this year because people enjoy it. Enjoy seeing that. So, okay. Any other questions in the chat there that
Not yet.
have popped up?
They've all been talking about sign language.
Everybody's talking about sign language.
About who does it, and friends that were deaf, and parents that were deaf, and yep.
Is there someone in here that has deaf parents? Is there a coda in the house?
I think they married into it. I think.
Yeah. So a coda
Angela, Practical
would
Modern
be
Homestead.
I'm sorry.
I think Practical Modern Homestead. Oh no, hers was yeah. She ended up marrying a man who had deaf and mute parents. Yep. Angela.
Yeah, so he would be what's called a coda, which is a child of a deaf adult. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do here. We're going to open up the phone line here. If anybody would like to call in and say hi to you in person, ask you questions directly.
I would love that.
Carrie, I swear that some of mine are. I know my one son is. I think maybe, I don't know.
Selectively deaf, is that what we're
yes,
talking about?
selectively. Yeah. It's like children. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I might have a couple teenagers that fall into that category.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, the 13-year-old, when Celia has the her phone or her iPad in front of her and she's watching anime, I think she calls it, on YouTube. It's like Japanese, I don't know, some videos or something. She's oblivious to everything. The house could shake and, she wouldn't know what's going on.
I see a question from Twin Cedar Farms. Do our guests have goats, and do we milk our cows or goats? We do not. I had goats in the beginning. I don't now. We do have cows now. We have bred heifers, but they're going to be for meat, not for milk. And the reason is because I'm off farm so much that daily milking would be difficult. If it comes to a point where I can be on farm more and be there at regular enough times, because my job takes me all over southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. Sometimes I leave very early in the morning, or sometimes I come back late in the evening, and I would not want an animal waiting on me and not be milked at a regular time. So I buy raw milk from a farm. I'm fortunate. I live in an area that is full of cattle ranches and dairy farms and small farms, and I'm able to get raw milk at a really good rate, $2.50 a gallon.
This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Well, hi there. Oh, love to have you on here. Anyone with an accent, we'll take you.
Lorella, can you hear her?
No, I hear Charlie Brown's teacher like wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, they can't hear her.
Oh no!
There. Does that?
Oh, now I
is
can
that
hear a little
better?
bit.
Is that better now?
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say, if ever I'm not feeling great, watching your videos and your lives always cheers me up.
Well, thank you. Is this perhaps Cheryl?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you. That's lovely.
Hi. No problem. That's all. I just thought I'd say that. I will let everybody else get on to calling.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you
Stay
calling.
warm.
Okay.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The ultimate accent.
She is from where?
Scotland.
Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Scotland.
Yes.
She's living in Scotland, but she's English. Or
Right.
she's
Yeah.
from England, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So she's broken the ice on the phone. If anybody else would like to call, I can take one call at a time. And we had a couple of the sound settings off here just a little bit. We're trying to make sure we don't get too much of an echo here. And so if you'd like to call in, the phone line is open. And if somebody is on the phone when you try to call, I will just have to refuse that call because I can only take one at a time. We don't have the ability to stack up calls in order here. So, Lorella, what's on the horizon for you?
I'm redesigning the garden. Last year, I tried to go really big for me and do about a 30 by 50 garden. And I was hoping to get into market gardening. It was too much for me to keep up with since I do it before and after work each day. So I reevaluated and decided that I'm going to go more for a kitchen garden and focus on supplying our family with food, since that was our original values, one of the reasons that we moved. And so I'm redesigning it to be a little more aesthetic as well. I want to add some whimsy, some spots to sit and rest and look and observe, and really focus on growing a few of the things that we love to eat, and then adding in once I master those. I also have had our pigs tilling up a fairly large section of the pasture, and I'm going to try to do a Three Sisters garden this year. Are you guys familiar with the Three Sisters garden?
We are. I don't
Should
know.
I explain just in case?
Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
go ahead and
somebody in
explain.
the
Yeah.
Chats. Three Sisters garden is attributed, excuse me, sorry, I hope that's not audible. Had a little burpy thing going on. That's embarrassing. Three Sisters garden is attributed here to Native American growers, and it is corn and a squash variety and like a pole bean, and you plant them at a certain distance from each other in a certain time when the corn gets to a certain height, and then the corn is your poles for your pole bean, and the squash leaves shade out the roots to help keep moisture and weeds at bay, and hopefully it will be successful. I tried it before, and I tried to do it on top of cardboard, and I put in cardboard and I put in compost, and the cardboard hadn't broken down enough, So the corn roots kind of went like this and hit the cardboard and spread out, and they weren't able to take root. So once the corn got to a certain height, they all just started falling over. They weren't able to get a good enough, I guess, grip in the ground and get the nutrients and everything that they needed out of the ground.
Little Creek Homestead is asking, what cool new thing are you growing this year?
Well, I think that.
Okay, yeah.
And I haven't done my seed shopping yet, so I'm not sure. I have done a little bit of research. I had some videos, and viewers really helped me out choosing carrot varieties and pole bean varieties. So hopefully I can get some. Our family eats, but we're pretty boring. Potatoes, carrots, kale, lettuce, onions. I'm trying to think of what we buy every week. Bell peppers. Pretty much like that. So if I can get those growing really good, and then I'll expand from there. But nothing really cool or exciting.
Hold on. This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Hey, Daryl. It's Morgan from Goldshaw Farm.
Morgan, how you doing?
Not too bad, buddy. How are you?
Real good.
So I just, hearing Lorella talk about the Three Sisters Garden, I felt like I had to geek out to it because, like I said in the comments, I'm planning on doing it too, and just was wondering what sort of advice she had for getting started, because this is going to be the first time I ever try it.
Well, I went online and I just Googled a plan for it. So I don't know that I have necessarily great advice. I think the first thing you start with is the corn, because everything revolves around that.
Yeah, you'd have to have the stalk
because the corn has to be like yay high before you plant the beans. Otherwise, they won't be tall enough for the beans to climb up. So I would think that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Right. Well, that's the one I'm trying to figure out is the timing of it, because you want to get it to a place, I guess from what I've read, where the corn is established enough that it can be a trellis, but not so high that it's shading out the beans and creating problems there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll be an experimental year for me too.
And I didn't hear it before. Do you have any varieties that you're thinking about? Like what sort of, squash, what sort of corn, beans, all of it? I'm very curious. Like I said, I'm totally geeking out on this one.
I haven't decided on my corn at all yet. I haven't even started researching that sweet corn. I'm going to probably do pumpkins because we feed them to our pigs as a natural dewormer. And then butternut squash because I really like to eat butternut squash. So I think, but I don't know what variety of pumpkin yet. And then I might just do like Kentucky Wonder Beans or something that is a proven bean. I haven't had good luck with beans being tender and yummy, so I want to try something that lots of people recommend. What have you decided what you're going to do?
Well, so as far as the corn goes, I have like 3 or 4 varieties that I have handy just with seeds, and so I'm just going to try them all out and see what does well, what doesn't. The beans, I have no idea. But as far as the squash goes, I feel like I actually want to do a lot of pumpkins and delicata because those are the ones that we're like the biggest fans of in our house. And so they store pretty well. And, the idea would be to create a lot of food for us like into the winter because, it's funny. We're getting to that time of year here where like, we're getting hard up for fresh vegetables or vegetables that we grew. And so I'm just thinking more and more for next year, like, I got to make sure we have it carry through longer and longer and stuff that stores better and better.
Well, if either of you are interested in rattlesnake beans or the long purple beans, I have those. And I can send you each some of the packs of those.
Well, that
would be cool.
Yeah, I harvest mine every year. So when we go to seed swaps, I have little packs. That's what I give away.
That's great.
And I also have from Baker Creek, because they sent me a case of seeds, I also have, these are Spanish lemon squash. If you might be interested in trying those, if you each want to email me with an address, I can send you those also.
Oh, that would be so sweet, Sherry.
Just a thought.
I do have one more question. Are you going to have any problems with cross-pollination between your corns if you plant 4 different varieties?
That's an outstanding question, and that's a good point. I should probably look into that. For me, this all started as kind of an outgrowth. So we've got our ducks in this one spot right now, and they're there every single day. And so I figured I wanted to try to, because we have the fenced-in area, it's safe from most of the varmints. So the idea would be, let's try to grow something there. And this was kind of the idea that came up. But you're right, corn cross-pollination could be actually a real problem for me.
All right. Well, let's talk
Awesome.
some more about this as we go. Maybe we can get some other channels in on it, and it'd be fun to compare everybody's progress.
Should be interesting to see how you both do on that.
Oh, definitely. No, I think Three Sisters Gardens are going to be one of the cooler things to do this year, so for sure.
That should be interesting.
All right. Well, great talking to you.
All right, Morgan.
Yeah,
Thanks for
you
calling.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, and somebody I know was trying to call while he was on, but I can only take one call at a time, so.
Okay, and what's your next challenge collab going to be?
Well, I just did one about a week and a half ago, titled Dear Younger Me, Homestead Edition. I loved the idea. I loved hearing what everybody would go back and say if you had to do it over. And so far we have about 14 different channels participating, and I would love to see more of you do those.
That.
I really thought it was just going to spread on its own, so I didn't tell everybody to tag someone at the end of their video. We just kind of left it open, and it hasn't spread. So please join.
Okay.
I'd go through and tag everybody in this list if I could.
Okay, and we have another caller on the phone. This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
It's Henry.
Okay, you're.
Hi, Henry.
Just speak normal in the phone here.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
This is Henry.
And
Hi, this is Henry.
and who's calling?
Henry from Filmora.
You will make it out. Okay, we're having a hard time understanding you, so.
Henry from Filmora.
From Farm
Henry
Alarm.
from Farm Alarm.
Henry
I
from
was
Okay.
right.
Farm Alarm.
I named
Sorry,
it.
honey.
Okay.
Hi,
Took us a
Henry.
minute.
Thank you for calling.
Hi, Lorella.
I'm so glad you called. How's Buttercup?
She's fine.
Buttercup is one of their sheep.
She's gonna have another baby soon.
She's having another baby. That's excellent.
Soon. Probably tomorrow when I go 5, maybe.
Wow, that is
Oh,
soon.
soon. Very soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling. Bye-bye. Okay.
I love it.
And that was a youngster from Farm Alarm, and I didn't hear the name. Is it?
Henry.
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 Yes.
Yes, Henry, thank you for calling.
And someone mentioned in here if
have another caller.
Instead of using corn, if you could use sunflowers. That's a thought.
This is Daryl. Who's calling, please?
Hi, Daryl. It's Claire over here with Rent to Grown. How are ya?
Hi,
Just
Claire.
fine.
How are you guys doing tonight?
So what did you burn?
Well, it's kind of part of the surprise. It was some grease. It was a small grease fire. I just traumatized the dog a little bit. It's fine. It's okay. Just a little discoloration, and we've got a box fan in the window. It doesn't really matter that it's below 30 degrees here. It doesn't really matter. It's fine now.
Anything
I used
smoke
my
out
little
of the
Baker
kitchen.
Creek seed catalog to fan the smoke alarm. It was terrifying.
God.
You know, the more you know.
That's right. Go ahead. All yours.
Oh, my
sorry.
husband is commenting. My husband says, ask Lorella about the apple crisp.
I saw that.
Thanks for ratting me out, Chris.
What happened with the apple crisp?
a few years ago, we were invited to a dinner party, and I was bringing apple crisp, and it wasn't quite brown. And Chris said, just turn the broiler on for about 2 minutes and brown it.
Oh, no.
And he is more of an experienced cook than I am, and he just assumed that I would stand there and watch it. But he said 2 minutes, so I set the timer for 2 minutes. And before the 2 minutes were up, we had flames coming out of the oven.
Oh, my.
And turned it off and took it out, and the house smelled smoky, so we scraped off the burnt top and took it to the dinner party, not realizing the whole crisp smelled like burnt smoke.
Oh,
and
no.
Our lovely friends ate it anyway.
Oh,
Isn't there some sort of fancy term for the flames on your food?
Flambe.
Like a brulee.
Flambe.
Yeah. So, some of them are supposed to be like that, Terrell.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I think it's supposed to happen.
Hashtag nailed it.
Exactly.
So I had a quick, I do have a question, but I did have a quick caveat first with regards to ASL.
Okay.
So I think it's super duper awesome that you guys know it. Like, I know, like, a very, very, barely enough to get by. But one of the reasons that I'm trying to learn it is I was born with a cleft palate, and it wasn't treated until I was in my teens. And so the way, like, if anybody reads lips, they can't, my formulation is still wrong. And so, like, I've worked with people who are not hearing, or who have cochlear implants, and they read lips to, like, help. And they just look at me like I'm speaking a completely different language because they can't read my lips. So I've been trying over the last couple of years to learn ASL so that I can be understood by everyone now.
That's lovely.
So,
I have a
quick
cousin.
question.
Yeah, I have a cousin that was born with a cleft lip, so I just, that was normal. I didn't see any different. That was normal for me. I grew up with him like that, so.
Yeah, a lot of my family, like my distant relatives, like couldn't understand me for the longest time, but like my little cousins that I was, around all the time, whenever I finally went to go have surgery, they were like, okay, so why is she having surgery?
Yeah.
They just, like, they didn't know.
Yeah, it was normal.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
But I did have an actual question for Lorella.
Okay.
How are you guys balancing homesteading and working full-time, off the farm, out of the house? Because, we're, like, our channel name's Rent to Grown because we rent a 3-acre property, so we're not able to do everything that we want. But even the stuff that I would like to do, I find that I'm not able to commit myself to it as much as I should because 40, 50 hours a week, we're not here. So how are you guys dealing with that?
Well, I don't sleep. No, I'm kidding.
Same.
That's what
I do sleep.
Plan B.
I do
said
sleep.
she's Superwoman.
I am fortunate that as an interpreter, I own my own business, so I set my own hours. And in the summer when I was gardening, I tried to take every Friday off so that I could have one day working on the farm. But the real answer is we have grown slowly. That's one of the reasons we've grown so slowly. We are 6 years into this now, or well, 5. We moved in 2014. And so we do not have the big garden that some other channels have after just a couple of years. Or we don't have as many animals. And part of that is because of Chris's wisdom. And he tells me I may take on one new venture and or one new animal each year. I wanted all the animals right now. I wanted the garden right now. I wanted the orchard right now. And he knew in his wisdom that was a path to A, either burnout or destroying your health, and B, to failure in many areas because being new to it all and learning and not growing up in this lifestyle, everything is a learning adventure for me. So YouTube is a great resource. So we have grown very slowly, one new animal at a time. And then I think also you have to learn that it's okay to say no. You do not have to be room mom. I don't know your specific family if you have children and that kind of thing, but like you don't have to be room mom at the school, and you do not have to teach the Sunday school class, and you do not have to attend every meeting that you're invited to. It's okay to say no. And sometimes, I hope my scheduler who offers me jobs isn't watching, but sometimes when I say I'm not available for that job or I have a prior commitment for that job, sometimes that prior commitment is to myself. And that prior commitment is I'm not starting my day until 10 a.m. on Thursday because I know Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'm working late. And I know not everybody can afford to change their work schedule like that, but there are things in everybody's schedule that you can change. So I think those are the pieces of advice. And I did a video sometime a couple months ago when it was nice weather. I did it at the park, which is why I remember. I think it was probably early fall, talking about how to increase your joy and decrease your stress. And I talk about the rule of 1 degree of change. So if you imagine that you have a paper plate, and that, or a circle on a piece of paper, it doesn't have to be a paper plate, a circle on a piece of paper, and that represents your 24 hours in your day. So you fill it in with the things that you choose to spend your time on. And people say, you know, well, I have to go to work, or I have to pick up my kids from school. And my answer is you don't have to. There's nothing in life that you have to do. Everything you do, you are choosing to do. And certainly, we choose to care for our children because we are compassionate human beings, and otherwise we would be abusive. But it is a choice. And so when you recognize that you have a choice of how you spend your time, and you have a choice in everything you do, that really frees you up from the feeling of I don't have enough time, or I have to do all these things. No, we choose to go to work because we want a paycheck, and you know, we want to be able to buy the garden seeds or whatever, or pay for the roof that you have. So look at what you're choosing to spend with your time. And I had to do that this last summer because I was feeling very stressed and very overwhelmed. I was thinking about stopping YouTube. And I was worried about what all the homesteading was taking away from my family or not. And so I had to just take a step back and reevaluate my values and why was I doing this. That at the same time I decided to redesign my garden. I was really stressed, and I thought, whoa, okay, what one thing, and here's where 1 degree of change comes in. So if you're on a path from Los Angeles to Portland, and you're off by 1 degree, if you're in a plane, by the time you get there, you'll be 6 miles away from your destination, right? Because 1 degree of change goes like this. So look at your life. What's one thing that you can change? For me, it was taking games off my phone for a while. I now have a couple of games on my phone, but I just simply took the games off my phone, and that one thing freed up time in my day to focus on something else. So start small, master one thing before you add something else. Realize you do not have to say yes to every other commitment in your life. You can say no, and sometimes for your health and for your sanity, you need to say no. And if you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed, take a step back and look at what is taking up your time, and is there something that you can eliminate in favor of something that you would rather be doing towards your goals.
Wow.
I hope that was helpful.
That is like fantastic advice. I feel like you just mommed me so hard, and I needed that in my soul.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Yes, Mama Rose, sometimes we talk on almost a daily basis, and sometimes she'll tell me a situation, she'll get, okay, Lorella, give me your words. So, yeah, I'm not.
I love her. I talk to her a lot too.
But I try not to dish it out if it has not been asked of me. So I'm only going to mom those who ask me to.
That's good. I feel like I really struggle with like time management, but I may do that. I need to like sit down and evaluate what matters and what's going to get me to my ultimate goal. So that's excellent, excellent advice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if you have time, go to my channel, and search for, I think the video is called like how to increase joy and reduce your stress or something like that. It's just a few months ago, so you should be able to find it. If you don't, send me a message on Facebook. It's pretty easy to find me. There aren't many Lorellas out there. And
Lorella?
And we can talk more.
Lorella, you unfortunately you can't hear everybody that just stood up and gave you a standing ovation for your little talk here.
Well, thank you.
We don't have the way to do that, but that was very, very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
That sure was.
Well,
thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and hop off here to free up the phone, but like I'm so glad that I called. Thank you guys so much.
We're glad you called too,
Thank you for calling.
Yes, thank you very much.
Y'all have a good night.
And you have a nice
honey.
evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's do another trivia.
Yeah, I've already got it
Okay.
started up over here, so let me bring it over.
Well, hi folks, it's trivia time again, and we have to have some rules for this, so they are as follows. Number 1, you can only win once every 4 weeks. Number 2, you must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it appears embedded on the screen here. Your chat window may have a different order. And number 3, you have to send an email to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Send us your mailing address so we know where to send your winnings. Good luck.
Okay, and for the second question here, again, it will be a $10 gift certificate or coupon or code, or it's
Code.
It's a code. It's $10 to be applied to anything on the well, here you say it, the MK Lone Star.
MK Lone Star handcrafted website.
And we just a few examples just flashing up here on the screen is all that is.
And the smell is wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So the second question, and this is about our guest here this evening, is Lorella has lived in 5 states. Which of these has she not lived in? California, Oregon, Alaska, Louisiana, Texas, and Missouri. One of those states she has not lived in. Which one is it?
Hey Stella.
Hey, Stella.
Hey Stella, you are the winner, Texas. She has not lived in Texas. Well, you know, with it being, you're going to go ahead?
Are you doing that?
With it being 10 o'clock, that second question was answered. Hey Stella, 1. So email us twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. I will send you the website, the code. Jump off on our screen. It was Hey Stella. We're going to go ahead and do the other 2 questions. In this third one, the prize is the same thing. You'll get a code for $10 off for a purchase over $10 on mklonestarhandcrafted.com. So if you want to go ahead with the
Are you ready?
We're ready. Go ahead with the third question.
All right, now this is more of a general question. This is not about her.
Yeah, these are not about the guest tonight.
Okay, so this is more about in just the homesteading community. So here is the question. What YouTube channel hosts the Life Conference in Missouri?
Lazy Acres Farm. That could be all, well, you know what? Carol, you call it, because that could be any Breakaway Homestead. You call it, because off-grid could be any channel.
I don't think we can go with off-grid. Doug and Stacy, I think we can go with.
Yeah, so Breakaway Homestead.
Breakaway Homesteader.
Breakaway Homesteader.
Yeah. Yeah, there's too many channels that have off-grid in them.
Okay, and
And the first one that said that was what? Lazy Acres Farm?
first one who said off-grid, right?
Okay, so Lazy Acre Farm.
Email us anyway. Email us anyway to twofamilyhomes@gmail.com. We'll get something out to you. No, Breakaway Homesteader, we got her covered. We got her covered. It's cool. It's cool. Twin Cedars, you take care. No, you're fine. We got it covered. Trust me, I have seeds galore, so we're cool here. Okay, so this is the fourth question.
All right, but now this one's a little bit different. The prize for this.
This is a crocheted. You can use it as a egg basket. If you have children and they want to use it for going out to the garden, they can use it. It's what we had. I have a lady on Facebook. I was going to say AOL. I have a lady on Facebook that donated this, and I will put the information here. So that's the winner will get this particular prize. And if the guest wants to guess on this one also, you're included.
Yeah, Lorella, you're included in this if you'd like to. So.
Oh.
This is for this.
Okay, MK, I got it covered, sweetie. It's cool. I can send seeds.
Is this crocheted?
This is crocheted. Yes.
Okay, so this is a crocheted egg basket is what we're calling it,
yes.
But can be used for whatever you might
whatever
want
you
to
want
use,
it to.
use
Exactly.
it for.
I know Farmer Alarm. I don't even know why AOL came into my mind.
All right, and if everybody is ready, again, this is kind of a general homesteading type of question. What is the date of the gathering this year?
I don't know.
Yes, Stella, you got mail. You got that right. Nope. Up.
Right. Which gathering? That's what I want to know.
Country Homestead Preacher. You're correct. March 9th.
Okay, Country Homestead Preacher, please send us an email to familyhomestead@gmail.com.
Jim Beer, 42 is the answer to everything.
It is. He does it every week. Mm-hmm.
All right.
I know why. Do you know why?
No.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Is 42?
Yeah, it's pop culture.
There you go. That's it. Always 42. Yep.
Oh, the pop culture, huh? That must be the younger generation.
MK in Little Creek, April 6th is the Shindig in Arkansas, not the gathering in Mississippi. Okay, that's the prizes for tonight.
All right. So we've. I know it's been an hour, but do you have a little bit more time, Laurel?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we have the phone line back open again. Anybody wants to call in?
I guess you would ask my husband, though. He's waiting to take me home. Chris, have we got a little bit more time?
Plan B Orchard, that's what a mother tells her children when they
What did
ask
he say?
why. Because I said so.
Because I said so.
That's what Nana says, because I said so. Claire, April 6th is your birthday. Woohoo! I'll have to remember that.
All right. Yeah, Chris says, yeah, we got a little more time.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
So, anybody has any more questions, put them in all caps. And I'm doing fine tonight. Kate, how are you doing? I know you had surgery, not even a month ago, or maybe a month ago. Yeah, Smudge isn't real. Yeah, he is. Trust me, he's real. Oh.
Well, not in the chat.
Not in the chat.
So, anyway, for your place out there, you're allowed to do one something new this year.
Yes.
Have you made a choice yet as to what that one thing is going to be?
Meat rabbits.
Meat rabbits.
Yeah, and I am actually swinging through Elizabeth Branscome's on my way home from Little Rock in April to get rabbits. So right now I am working on getting their enclosure and cages and stuff neat.
I have a question about your girls.
Yes.
How did they adjust to, because they were a little bit, I'm going to say what, early teens when you made your move?
12 and 14.
Were they
were
they the typical California girl?
No, they weren't the typical California girl. But we did have a pool in the backyard, and it was sunny and 70 year round, and we were only about half an hour from the beach. So moving to rural America was not their idea of fun at all, and they would move back to California in a heartache. Of course, they didn't live there as adults, so they weren't paying taxes and
right.
paying for housing and all of that. That might swing them at some point. But they're good kids, and they pitch in and they help around the farm, and they're involved, and they actually really like the YouTube channel, so that's one reason I kept it going. I made a video saying, should I quit YouTube, and didn't talk to my family about it because I was afraid that they would say yes please, and I hadn't decided yet whether I was actually willing to stop, and I was thinking through it, and I made this video, and they heard me editing, and they were like, what? No, you can't stop doing YouTube. This is great, that. So they love the YouTube life.
Good.
The farm life is they are willing participants because we have always raised them that if you're a member of the family, you participate in family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that either one of them will choose farm life as an adult.
Yeah.
But at least they will have that option. At least they will know how, and they will know that it can be done. And I think more importantly, they will know that no matter how old you are, you can change your life. You can reach for a dream. You can try something new, and whether it works out or it doesn't, it's okay to try. Because my husband and I were in our mid-40s. I'm 48. I just turned 48, and we had, I guess, our midlife crisis together, which is great. Some couples have them, and they go their separate ways. And we're like, we're jumping ship. We're done with corporate life. We're done with city. We're done with, this regular rat race that everybody else is doing, and we're going to go try this thing and see what happens. And I think that that's a better life lesson for the girls, regardless of what that new thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask how much property you have? How much property?
Someone's asking about the property?
Yeah, how much?
It's my mother's still. She owns it.
Right.
We lease 2 acres from her, and we are allowed to do anything we want on the 2 acres. There are almost 30 acres in total. About 11 of it is a wooded hillside that isn't fun for much other than exploring. There's 2 creeks. We will inherit all of it. So her house and my house, and then she shares all of her outbuildings with us. And she has a hay barn, which also has stalls on one side. She has an equipment shed. She has a chicken coop. What we didn't think about when we built our house, we kind of wanted a little bit of distance. So we're down the hill from my mom, about 300, I think closer to 500 feet. And that's pretty far to walk in winter if you want to go up to to any of those outbuildings. She has a goat shed. So we have ended up making mobile coops down by our house so that we can just step outside and go take care of animals. We do use the hay barn though. So she's very generous and lets us share all of that. So that's property. I think I saw 2 questions I saw one from my husband about what was my biggest accomplishment this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw one from Vicky right before that.
Yeah.
Will I be at Baker Creek Spring Seed Festival? Yes. And I want to bring up, I know a lot of people have already hopped off, but the Baker Creek Spring Festival is a Sunday, Monday event. And Chris and I had talked about, and I hope he's still okay with this because I'm going to announce it. On Sunday evening, if weather is nice, we will host a like a fire pit at our house. If anybody wants to come, just hang out in between the Sunday to Monday event. It's
nice.
about 30 minutes, between 30 and 45 minutes, straight south of Baker Creek. So if anybody wants to come hang out with us, they'll have to somehow get a hold of us between now and then. We would love to have you guys over.
That sounds interesting. We'll have 2 girls with us and possibly a dog.
Yeah, we're going to pull our camper and stay there. I think we're
right.
staying
There's
there.
a place at Baker Creek where you can stay. Yeah.
Yeah. But
and then
there's certainly
Chris,
nothing that says we can't just unhook and drive down.
Well,
I'm sorry, what's that?
Yeah, we're gonna go early anyway, so we're gonna unhook the truck anyway.
Yeah.
So that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris says, what would I consider my biggest accomplishment over the years since we left California? I think overall just that I'm still learning new stuff. I think that's the biggest accomplishment, that I'm learning to care for all of these animals and doing well with that, and that gardening is getting bigger and better every year. I can't really point to one single accomplishment. Chris, if you can think of one, reaching almost 5,000 subs on YouTube is a pretty good accomplishment. It'd be nice. I'm within like 190 of 5,000. So I think that's going to be great.
All right, anybody in the chat out there, we are not a sub for sub channel, but by all means go subscribe to her if you have not. I mean, she's got a fantastic
if you like the
channel.
content, subscribe.
Yeah,
I don't
go
want
check
you to
her out.
subscribe just so I can hit that number, but I do engage in the comments and have developed friendships with the viewers. So one thing that I try to do on my channel is be very authentic and show you what I do that works really well and what I do that I don't call a failure anymore. I call a lesson learned. So I show both the ups and the downs.
Yep.
Is there anything that you've started that you wished you would not have in this journey?
That we well, we got geese and we thought they were going to be good for eating grass, which they do, but we didn't realize they also leave real big geese bombs around, and they were a little bit aggressive. We ended up getting rid of them, so I probably wouldn't do geese again. I don't really regret anything. I wish I had not got the goats that I got. I wish I would have done more research and saved up for some good quality milk goats rather than just get the goats that my friends had available at the time.
Oh,
that's what I'm doing different with rabbits.
You need to talk with our goat queen.
What's that?
You need to talk to the goat queen.
Rose? Are you talking about Rose?
Yeah, Wholesome Roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. So if I get back into goats again, I will do my research. And the same thing with pigs. Pure Hearts Homestead asked, what goats did I get? I got Kiko Nubian cross. Kiko are a meat breed and Nubian are a milk breed. And they were okay, but they didn't work out for me. And I would have done more research and learned more first with the goats before I got started. So now we have been, since then, I do more research ahead of time before I commit to anything. It takes me a long time to really think about where I'm going to house everything and how am I going to care for them. Oh, yes. So my daughter, Carter Cruz, says, not build as big a house. And that is true. We moved from a small, about a 1,200 square foot house in California, and Chris is a big guy. If any of you have seen my videos, he's 6'6". His shirt size is 4X tall. He's a big guy. And he was tired of bumping into small doorways and bending over to take a shower. And so we built what we call our house that we're building is what we call our 100-year house. We don't plan on ever moving again. We want it to still be here for our kids' kids. But we did kind of overbuild. It's got a lot of square footage. And had we started with a smaller house, maybe still had the wide doorways and the tall ceilings, but not as much square footage. We probably would be done with it by now. So yes, Carter, well said, that we would build a smaller house, and we've talked about that before.
Okay, and while people are thinking of another question, I just want to say one more time here that mklonestarhandcrafted.com has sponsored some of the trivia questions here tonight. They also have a special deal for anybody attending our streams. It's good until February the 18th. You get 15% off your entire order. Everything on their website is shipped free in the continental United States. And if it's outside the continental United States, you just have to make pre-arrangement on the shipping thing via email. But to get that 15% off, folks, here's your code. 2 Family Homestead Rocks. You put that in your order thing on the website, and you will get 15% off. That's until February the 18th of this year. And we certainly appreciate what they're doing. We hope that you'll go patronize their site and pick up a couple smellies and scrubbies and melties and everything else that she makes. There is some real nice quality stuff. Okay, I got our commercial out of the way.
Breakaway Homestead, what kind of rabbits are you looking for?
I am going to be getting New Zealand's, and I'm starting with Branscombe Farms in Arkansas. She's near enough for me to drive and get them. And then if she cannot provide me with, I want to get a trio, and I would like at least one of them to be unrelated. Then she's gonna help me find another breeder to get the third one. And I see there's a question about Nigerian dwarfs. What's your opinion? I have a friend, ASL Havard Homestead, who milks her Nigerians, and she says the milk tastes really sweet. She likes it a lot. And they are small, so you get a smaller amount of milk, but they're also going to eat less feed. Nubians are also really known for their milk. But, you should probably turn to somebody like Rose at Folsom Roots, or maybe Trish at Willow Creek. They both have goats. They're gonna be better to advise you. I did not ever milk my goats, so I ended up bartering them away for piglets.
Well, can you think of anything else?
No.
Folks, we want to thank everybody in the chat here tonight for being here.
Thank all of our moderators. Thank
you so much, everybody.
Folks, if you haven't checked out our moderators' channels, please do so. We have some great moderators here. Swampy Acres is asking, what kind of pigs do you have?
This year we have a large black Yorkshire cross. We had large blacks our first year. They're a heritage breed. Loved them. They don't dig as much and they forage a lot, so they ate grass and clover. Our person that we bought them from, we buy feeder pigs. We don't breed our own. So the person that we were buying large blacks from moved and sold up their whole stock, and so we went with the Yorkshire Berkshire cross the second year, and they were diggers, and they also didn't give as much lard, so they're not a lard breed. They were leaner. They ran all their fat off, and I like to have the lard. And then this year we found somebody who had large black cross with Yorkshire, and that's what we have this year. I also may do Kuni or Kun, however it's pronounced. They're also a heritage breed. They're shorter, and they also are known to forage well and not root too much. Thanks, Vicki.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Next week will be the Fit Farmer.
Fit Farmer, Mike.
Mike Dixon.
Yep.
If you've not seen him So now you got at least a week's notice to
Yes.
go check out some of his videos and stuff. So the Fit Farmer, Mike Dixon, will be here next week. And we appreciate y'all. Tomorrow night we have the
Tech Tuesday.
Tech Tuesday Tech, or however that works out. And then of course we do our support the channels on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it was
I really
great.
appreciate it.
It was
It was
great.
a lot of fun.
I'm
I
glad
was
you were here.
nervous. I had a couple
Everybody.
dreams, 2 nights in a row, about being out in my underwear, and I think it was about being nervous about this show.
Everybody before that they're nervous, and then after it's like, let's do this again.
and we really don't bite. So, all right, folks, thanks so much for being here. Have a wonderful week. We'll see some of you, if not all of you, tomorrow night and Thursday night. And we've got a couple other videos coming out this week. So take care, everyone.
Her
Good
husband
night.
said TMI.
Good night.
Night, folks.